Hey there, friends. How's it going? My name's Papa, and today we're playing some more Higurashi Ray. Your trigger warnings. This game deals with a lot of mature and hard to deal with concepts such as, but not limited to, death, murder, torture, child abuse, sexual assault against a minor, any of the above against a minor. If you miss any of that, or if you want to take a look, details are down below in the trigger warning section. Also, this is spoiler warnings for all of Higurashi Season 1, Season 2. We're currently playing, this game correlates to Season 3, probably around Episode 3 and 4 at this point. And hello, Samuses, how's it going? Yes, I'm starting soon for 14 minutes because the dog decided to take 10 minutes to poop. But he is done now. So yes, last time on this game, it starts with Rika and her friends biking back from the city, quote-unquote, the largest neighboring town. She decides to challenge Sadako to a race on their bikes. Comes around a corner, gets hit by a truck, and dies. But this is Higurashi, where no one ever dies, so she's thrown into this world where a lot of the common stuff we've seen before has not happened. So, for example, Rika's parents never died. Sadako's parents never die. Keiichi never joins the village. Satoshi here never kills his uncle, or sorry, the aunt, rather, and doesn't turn into a level 5 patient in the bottom of the clinic. The clinic, Irie never shows up. In fact, it looks like Takano's grandfather, succeeded in being able to come here like 40 years ago, did his research, and possibly cured Hinamizawa syndrome, ? Not sure on that one. But he's dead now. Natural causes, nothing murderous. And Takano, the granddaughter, doesn't seem to be here. No one seems to be even aware of her, so it's not even clear if he adopted her in the first place. And also, Hanyu is not able to enter this world, but there's this, giant marble, yay big, that Rika can talk to Hanyu through, although there's, limited power with which she can talk to her. And what she's learned is there's a fragment in here that refuses Hanyu entry. So Rika has to find this fragment and destroy it. If it's in an item, she has to burn it. If it's in a person, she has to kill them. And all we know is it's something or someone that is likely related to the shrine in Oyashiro-sama, and it has a strong feeling associated to it. That's all we know. She's been here for a few weeks trying to find it. In this world, Rika is a loner. She has no friends because all of her friends moved away because the dam project was accepted by the community and the whole area is going to be flooded in 1 year and everyone's going to leave, but they're going to get a boatload of money. So a bunch of people already started leaving the area, figuring, what's the point of staying here any longer if it's going to be flooded in a year? We'll take our money and go and start building our new life now. So all of Rika's friends left, and she's left with some of the people here, but none of them are her friends. And Sadako especially doesn't like her. They've had a few altercations, including Rika beating her with a chair, mainly just so Sadako would leave her alone so she could go around trying to find hints to this fragment. And now we're talking with Satoshi, and I did have to skip one piece. Oh yeah, it was just one piece because the audio doesn't click in until I click on the tab. So he asked us if we had a moment. After school, I was about to head home before the rain started up again. Satoshi called out to me. I looked up and saw Mion and Rain. Oh yeah, and in this world, Rena's parents never got divorced, so she never changed her name, her nickname, which is Rena, from her legal name, Reina. So she's called Reina from like here on out. I'd been stopped by the upperclassmen brigade. The expressions weren't exactly gentle ones, and I suspected I was in for some sort of punishment after what I did during lunch break.
何かご用なのですか？少しお話ししたいなって思って。お昼休みのことなのですか？それもあるし、さとこをお椅子で叩いたりとかしてごめんなさいなのです。
I spoke the words fine, but I didn't bother to hide my glum
怖がらないで
attitude.
よ、リカちゃん。別に私たちはリカちゃんを叱ろうとかそういうつもりで呼び止めたんじゃないんだよ。ならどうして呼び止めたのですか？
まあ、単刀直入に言うとさ、みんなで仲良くなるためにどうしたらいいだろうねって相談だよ。たださ、一応理解してほしいんだよね。今の現状を招いたのは、リカちゃんにも多少の責任があるってこと。
ミオン、そんなことを今わざわざ言わなくても。
こういうのを教えてあげるのも上級生の役割だと思うけどな。違う？
もう。
This conversation didn't look like it would be a fun one. I blew them off and probably won't get worse, so I just decided to pretend I was listening. Rain took my silence for me being dispirited and started speaking in a much more light-hearted tone.
リカちゃんだってみんなとお友達で楽しく遊べたら素敵だって思うでしょ？それでね、みんなでね、仲良く遊べるようにはどうすればいいのか。なんだと思うかな？わかりませんです。リカちゃんは知らないと思うけど、ミオンってね、いろんなゲームを持ってるんだよ。ね。
まあ、昔の趣味だけどね。小さい頃にどういうわけかボードゲームとかカードゲームをすごく集めてた時期があってね。最近は全然興味ないんだけど、まあ捨てるわけじゃなし、大量に在庫があったりするわけよ。
楽しそうなゲームがいっぱいあるのに全然遊んでなくて埃をかぶってるなんてもったいないよね。私、あの泥棒役がサングラスかけて遊ぶイギリスの泥棒ゲームやってみたいな。僕は木の枝をどんどんつなげていくあの積み木みたいなゲームをやってみたいよ。
どのマニュアルも英語なんだけどな。シオンの野郎がそういうののマニュアルを読むのだけは得意だったっけ。シオンに聞けば早いけど学園行っちゃったからな。なら
みんなで読んで理解しようよ。それもきっと楽しいよ。そうだね。みんなで同じルールでゲームするならたとえ間違ってても公平だしね。ね、楽しそうでしょ？放課後にみんなで集まってゲームで遊ぶゲーム部って部活を始めようって思ってるの。ゲーム部、部活。クラスの誰もが参加できるんだよ。そこでみんなで遊んでいるうちにきっとリカちゃんもいつの間にかみんなの輪に溶け込んでると思うんだ。
クラスで一人だけ浮いちゃってるあんたを溶け込ませてあげようっていう上級生の心遣いってわけよ。
だからミオン、そういうことは言わなくても。
最近は少し気の毒な感じもしてきたけど、実際のとこ私は今のリカちゃんの孤立は多少自業自得なところもあったんじゃないかって思ってる。
My own fault? Didn't Satoshi fell silent after hearing. I guess everyone in class shares Mion's opinion.
自得なのですか。
Of course, though this was about me, I had no idea what they meant by that. They were talking about the Rika Fruity before I came. To me, she was the same as a stranger. To them, this would seem like my surprise to him. It was just me not understanding because I was young. They sighed a little. It's an unpleasant sigh. They were telling me to look at myself. I wanted to be freed from this as soon as possible.
まだみんなが引っ越してっちゃう前さ、リカちゃんってさ、お姫様だったよね。
お姫様ですか。
そう、お姫様。リカちゃんは男の子たちのグループの中で 何でもチヤホヤしてもらえるお姫様。自分からは何もせず、常に彼らに何かをさせる。富田くんや岡村くん覚えてる？あの二人なんかは特にあんたが好きだったみたいだから、あんたが言うことは何でもしたよね。あんたはその上にあぐらをかいて涼しそうにしてるだけだった。そしてあんたに好意のある男の子たちを競わせるようなことをして、いっつも漁夫の利のような感じでちゃっかり得をしてる。そんなのを不愉快に思ってる子も少なくなかったんだよ。だからそういう男の子たちが偶然にもみんな引っ越しちゃって、あんただけが取り残された時、ざまあ見ろって言ってる子もいたんだよ。
None of that was about me.
リカちゃん、君にしてる話だよ。みーちゃんの話。聞いてますですよ。聞いてないよ。リカちゃんは自分とは関係ない話だと思ってる。そうでしょ？
Lorena Reina was still just as sharp about the weirdest things. I wanted to believe it was just a wild guess, but she'd hit the nail right on the head.
レイナもよしなよ。リカちゃんはもうそれを十分反省したと思うよ。
どうかな。反省したとはまだ聞いてないし、その様子からだと私たちに言われるまで気づきもしなかったって風だよ。
だからよしなって。僕たちはリカちゃんをいじめたいわけじゃないんだ。本当の意味でリカちゃんと友達になりたいって思ってるんだよ。それには僕たちもリカちゃんもこれまでの関係を変えていく努力をしていかなくちゃならない。
For some reason, I was upset. As though they weren't talking about Rika Furude, but about me. Me, a princess. There's no guarantee I wasn't one until now. Loved the most of all the club members, Ren and the boys in the class pampering me, laughing at Sadako and Keiichi's failures as I coolly profited from their conflict. Without giving anything myself, I just greedily devoured the goodwill people poured upon me. You're right, that was me. I hadn't wanted to accept this sad, lonely world and set myself apart. Of course, they couldn't have actually been talking about me. Though I didn't know the reason, I was still upset.
部活にはね、サトコも加えようと思うんだ。サトコだって意地っ張りだから直接はなかなか言えないけど、リカちゃんと仲直りしたいって思ってるんだよ。
どう？ゲーム部の部活にリカちゃんも参加してみない？きっと楽しいと思うよ。
こんなあたりからでもさ、自分を変えようと小さなってこと。
最初はギクシャクすることもあるかもしれない。でもね、きっとそのうち仲良しになれると思うの。だってみんなもリカちゃんとお友達になりたいと思ってるし、リカちゃんもみんなとお友達になりたいと思ってるなら、双方が手を伸ばし合ってるんだもん。届かないわけない。
もう僕たちは伸ばしてるんだよ。あとはリカちゃんが掴むだけ。
Felt like Keiichi said something a lot like this in some other world. His words probably made Rika Furude really happy. That wasn't me. All of this only applied to the Rika Furude from before I possessed this body. To me, this world was fake, a dream world. Besides, I was in the middle of a hunt. I didn't have time to hang out with them. But they weren't faking their feelings for Rika Furude, and I found myself without an answer at a loss of how to respond to them.
リカちゃん、ごめんね。実はさっき、お手洗いに行くとき、保健室で山本先生としてる話、ちょっとだけ聞いちゃったの。
Reina gave me an apologetic look. I never thought the others would be listening to that conversation, which went to sound like garbled nonsense to anyone from this world. I'd understand if it weirded them out and they didn't want to come near me, but I couldn't quite understand why it had resulted in this.
リカちゃんが言ってた世界って、みんなが仲良しのとっても楽しい世界なんだよね。リカちゃんはそこへ帰りたいって言ってたよね。だからね、私たち話し合ってリカちゃんがその世界に戻れる方法を考えたの。
と言ってももちろん引っ越しちゃった富田くんや岡村くんたちを呼び戻すわけじゃないけどね。
元の世界へ戻ることって誰もが望むことだと思うけど。
It startled me. There's no way Reina knew about me in my old world. And still her words felt full of meaning and they echoed in my heart.
壊れたコップのかけらをどう未練がましく拾おうとしてもね、一度砕けちゃったものはもう戻らないの。でもね、コップは一つじゃない。壊れたコップは惜しいだろうけど、また探せばいいんだよ。でも、砕けたコップのかけらを見つめてうなだれているうちは、絶対に見つけられない。
つまりね、リカちゃん、引っ越してしまったリカちゃんの親しかった友達はもう呼び戻せないけど、ならそれに負けないくらいの友達をまた作ればいいんだよ。
きっとそうして作った世界はリカちゃんの元の世界に限りなく近い世界になると思うの。もちろん全く同じにはならない。でもね、それが一番元の世界に近づける方法だと思うな。
そうすることでさ、前よりも素敵な関係を築けるってことはあるよね。雨降って地面がなんとやらって言うでしょ。
どうリカちゃん、僕たちもリカちゃんがみんなに早く馴染めるよう応援する。だから僕たちと一緒に。
Those gentle words would have been tear-worthy had been said to this world's Rika Furude. Now that I had possessed her, she was gone. Rika Furude they were talking to was no longer of this world. I thought to myself that I should just give this body back to her. If I did, me living in this remote parallel universe would have the chance to change her fate, make this world a happy one, only little by little. If I went back to my old world and gave this leftover body back to Rika Furude, I couldn't do that. Because for me to leave this world would require the same method as returning the fragment from this world, the world of the gods. In other words, my death. Only my death could make me go away. When I took over for Rika Furude, she was the same as dead. Maybe, just maybe, there was one way to return this body to Rika Furude. That'd be for me to die a different way. I wasn't a parasite or anything. Difficult to understand terms, I was an individual personality aware of other universes. Or maybe I should call myself a memory aware of other universes, and that meant if I could forget about the other worlds, that would represent the same as me dying. This world was the only world for Rika Furude, and she would live the best she could in it. So, I would gradually forget, eventually losing my grasp on which world I had lived in, and try my hardest to live in the world I was in now, which meant that giving up on my previous world and living this one was simply possible if I decided to do it. Reina said it might be a different world than my old one, but it was the closest I could ever get. It might be a little different from my old world, but the club would still form. In exchange for Keiichi and half her classmates, Satoshi was here. I wasn't best friends with Satoshi, but depending on how we interacted in the future, we could at least become regular friends. Miyazawa would sink underwater in another 6 months, but I could work hard to make new friends in my new home. World destiny wasn't Rika Furude's alone. It was an impartial destiny shared equally by all who lived in this world. Only I had the luxury of being a special case and jumping between destinies at a whim. I didn't know. Which world should I devote myself to? Reina's words came back to me. The broken cup never went back to normal. I couldn't find another one as long as I was lamenting the first. What did the cup represent? Cups were for filling with water. The cup could probably be called happiness. The cup broke and the happiness inside was scattered everywhere. The cup was broken and I was at a loss, unable to fill it up with happiness again. If I could change the way I thought, and rather be attached to the broken cup forever, fill a new cup with happiness. It opened the door to a new world. Still, while that world might be similar, it wouldn't be the same. My heart had weakened and I had been discouraged. Wasn't this only so tempting because the search for the key to go back was so difficult? Before, didn't I swear I'd put in any effort I needed to return to my old world? I broke that oath. On you, gambling on my fate would be left for all eternity all alone. I'd be the only one so selfishly happy. Well, I didn't have any responsibility to make Hanyu happy. She was my ally and partner, stuck with me for 100 years, and my friend. So even if I wanted to give in to temptation, I'd have to ask Hanyu. Which meant right now, I had no right to answer their proposal.
本当にありがとうです。とても嬉しく思いますのです。
大丈夫。僕たちがきっと守ってあげるから。だからこの学校が廃校になっちゃうまでの時間。
いえ、少しだけ心の整理をしたいのです。
はあ？何を乙女チックなことを。別にサトシがあんたに告ったわけでもないで
She
しょ
more
うが。
literally said prepare my heart rather than prepare my feelings.
みーちゃん、余計なことは言わないの。私はリカちゃんの気持ち、ちょっぴりだけわかるよ。だから、リカちゃんが心の整理をつけるの。ありがとうです。もし、お願いするときは、どうか、このフルでリカを、みんなの仲間に加えてやってくださいです。
I vowed apologetically. Here and now, that was the most I could do. After refusing the suggestion that we all go home together, I left on my own. It was Rika Furude's right, not mine, to enjoy going home with them. It wasn't something I, Frederica Baron Castell, could accept. What was I, anyway? I wondered if another ball could fly into my head like before. It was how this world's Rika Furude was possessed by me. If I got hit again, would I vanish? The pure Rika Furude who lives in this world return? If only I wasn't me, I wouldn't hesitate to take them up on their offer. This world truly was far sadder than the one I'd come from. This world had something all its own, and the opportunity to become a happy world in its own right. If I hadn't known about the other worlds, I wouldn't have been able to contain tears of joy. A mere premonition of happiness I might once again attain. These conflicting emotions, those of this world's Rika Furude, sleeping inside of me. Those emotions made me angry, and I blamed myself, asking why I'd put their offer on hold and went home all alone.
ただいま。
おかえりなさい。
My mother always immediately followed up with, "Do you have homework?" Not
リカ、
today.
台所にいらっしゃい。
Voice was vaguely cheerful and light. I wondered what it was. Did you want to surprise me in a good way? I couldn't remember today being special. A person's expectations sometimes come out in their voice. For the time being, I felt it okay to go poke my head in. Set down my things and headed for the kitchen. When I entered, my mother had already started on dinner, despite it being so early. I was in a good mood. I wondered if something nice happened. Every year at this time, with the Watanagashi festival approaching, she usually got more and more impatient with all the preparations and setup. Knowing all that, my mother's good mood baffled and confused me. I asked if she needed something. When I did, she suggested something I'd never heard, even once in these 100
お母さん
years.
と一緒に今日はカレーを作りましょうね。立派なのを作ってお父さんを驚かせちゃおう。
うん。
I didn't like curry that much. Gee, Sensei's not going to be happy with that statement. For these 100 years, meaning not me, but Rika Furude, I think she might have liked it. I knew at least that my mother was trying to make her daughter happy and suggesting that she and Rika Furude, not I, make dinner together. I didn't like my mother that much. She was prone to hysterics, and I hated how she always sounded like she was hunting you down when she talked. And she treated me so nicely. My reason for disliking her felt irrational. Wondering why my mother had had a change of heart, I decided to go along with it so as not to hurt her feelings.
じゃあ、じゃがいもの皮を剥きましょうか。包丁でできる？危ないから皮剥き器を使いなさい。
うん。
It's actually rather good with a knife. It was so good that when I peeled daikon radishes, I could make long strips of skin at the same time I sliced them. There was no reason to damage my mother's pride by showing that her daughter could use knives better than her. I decided to make her look good for now. My mother had probably been using knives for a decade now, but I've been using them for many decades. There's an order of magnitudes difference between us. So I wanted to be proud of using a knife better than my mother. I wanted to brag about it. That might have trampled over her feelings. Her want to teach her daughter how to use a knife. Parents are supposed to live longer than their children. Children respect the things that the parents have learned from having lived longer than them. Witches like me live longer than their parents and learn many more things. Still, I think I probably never learned what I really needed to. I mean, as long as I genuinely listened to my mother, she'd never get hysterical. I didn't feel like respecting her as my senior in life. I wouldn't feel like she needed to act as one either. In the end, all that was left was a cold and comfortable relationship between parent and child. If I acted more like a daughter and pretended to be an ignorant child than I needed to be, maybe my relationship with her would have been more peaceful like this. Basically, she was Rika Frude's mother, not the mother of the witch who lived for 100 years. Thinking about it, made it seem obvious she'd be cold to me.
ねえ、こうして見えにくいものから順番にお鍋に入れていくのよ。
玉ねぎはいつ入れるの？
玉ねぎは煮すぎると溶けちゃうから最後でいいのよ。リカが頑張って切った玉ねぎだもんね。きっと美味しくなるわよ。
My mother smiled. She seemed very happy. Her smile was warm. Thought I'd completely forgotten over these 100 years, but I remembered, for less than a moment in time, my parents had to die in 1981. That fate was unchangeable. Besides, we could never get along in the first place, so it didn't matter if they died. Thoughts like these overlapped. Maybe my concern with my parents had waned. Our hearts had steadily lost their connection. The situation had steadily worsened. For now, I hadn't thought I could gain anything from this world. At once, I think it would make me realize something like that. With a mother like this, maybe spending time with her would be warm, it would be fun. That's right, the reason I rejected my mother's warmth, maybe it's because I wanted to soften the sadness I felt at her death. I couldn't change the fate she met in 1981, and she just might as well hate me. Is that the idea at the root of it all? In this world, my mother hadn't died in 1981. I'd stay here for a long time to come. I felt just a little jealous of Rika Frude, stricken with the desire to return this world to me to her. This world was so different than my previous one. Eiichi wasn't here, Shion wasn't here, Hanyu wasn't here. In exchange, Satoshi and my parents were here. There was no club. There would be one soon. Sadako was my best friend. She could be in the future. The way my previous world and this one scales, but I wouldn't know which way it would tip. I decided to leave this decision up to Hanyu. Yes, my destiny wasn't mine alone. It was Hanyu's destiny too. Whichever I chose, I'd have to talk to Hanyu before making my final decision. This multiple world concept was something that I only had because Hanyu had lent me her power. Hanyu had never given it to me. It would have been over from the very start. Hanyu would have sliced open my belly, and that would have been it. Put a lid on the curry, so now it just had to simmer. My father returned in the meantime, and really enjoyed seeing us make curry together. Then, at my mother's suggestion, he set the table. Any normal 1981, he really hated it when my mother told him to do anything. But he wasn't troubled at all at the prospect in this world.
リカはみんなのお皿にご飯を盛り付けてちょうだい。できる？
できますです。
Of course I can do that, idiot. It's something I'd thought many times before. This time I didn't. I opened the warm, steaming rice cooker and plated the rice. My mother brought the piping hot curry pot over and split it among everyone's plates.
すごいね。リカが盛り付けたご飯に母さんが作ってくれたカレーか。美味しそうだ。
違うわよ。カレーもリカと一緒に作ったのに。失礼なお父さんね。
I peeled myself back. Rika shouted that I wasn't needed, so I pulled back. I withdrew inside Rika Furude. She finally got to enjoy a family dinner from the bottom of her heart. When we saw the crooked potatoes, we all laughed pleasantly. I would never cut potatoes to be so ugly. Rika Furude was still so bad at this, so these things happened. I used the same ingredients. The only thing curry tasted like was the curry powder from the store. For 100 years, the same curry powder. It tasted the same, no matter how you made it. This particular curry tasted different. I cried at what Rika Furude had lost, no, at what I had lost. Rika Furude got to experience the warmth she had once forgotten. I wonder if another ball would come up, flying, and hit me in the head. I would pass out for a while. On waking, I would be gone. Isn't that the best possible happy ending? I was the stranger here. I thought this universe was the strange one out of all the other parallel universes. If it was me, I was the stranger. What had the world been, the one I had reached after 100 years? Was its happiness all that we'd won? Keiichi, Renan, Neon, Sadako, Shion, and I? Was it all worth nothing? That wasn't true. It was a radiant world, one that we'd all won the right to live in after 100 years of learning to trust each other. It was replete with a different kind of happiness than this one. Both shone brightly, but neither was better or worse than the other. Maybe in the end, most worlds weren't better or worse than any other. I only live in the extreme worlds, the ones where I was struggling to see whether Takano killed me or not. But of all the infinite universes, I started to think of them as either right or wrong. The multiverse wasn't simple enough to think in binaries like that. Tomorrow's dinner might be steak, or saltus, sorry. It wasn't about which was right and which was wrong. Both those worlds had spent a happy time eating dinner with family. What if my respective selves had been reversed during tonight's dinner? That was an incredibly tasteless thing to ask. The real problem wasn't that big to begin with. Neither was my last world, nor was this world better than the other. I needed to accept that. I still didn't know where the fragment I needed to return to my world was. But what if I never knew, and the power of the crystal ball connecting me to Hani disappeared? I would disappear like the stranger I was, and give this body back to Rika Furude. From her point of view, she'd say that I had returned to my old world, just as I had once called this world a daydream. Rika Furude, my old world, was the real daydream. Strange delusions of me would simply disappear along with it. Maybe it didn't really matter how to return to my original world. Which world I would decide was the original. Maybe that was what this was really all about. Hello, Avier, how's it going? After we finished eating, we cleaned up our places and started washing things. Father said he had a meeting tonight and he was about to leave again.
ちょっと笑っててくれる？ちょっとお父さんにお話があるんで続きをやっててね。
はいですよ。
I responded cheerfully as Rika Furude. I'd realized something slightly out of place. Yes, in visual novels I talk a lot. I tend to hydrate more often just to keep my throat better. If she had something to talk about with my father, there were plenty of chances during dinner. Made me wash the dishes so they could talk amongst themselves. We just had to stay put and wash the dishes, but I couldn't suppress the curiosity that was welling up, and so I snuck over to the front door to listen in on what my parents were saying. My mother was the one talking. Her tone of voice wasn't a cheery one.
それで山本先生が市内の大きな病院に相談してくれてるらしいの。先生がおっしゃるには
This is the first graphic where we've actually seen our
心の
parents.
方かもしれないって。立派な先生がいらっしゃる病院だそうなの。
I knew it. I knew I shouldn't have asked. Yamamoto certainly hadn't promised to keep our discussion in the nurse's office to himself. As I left, he'd probably call my parents and told them their daughter was ranting about nonsense. I explained it as my isolation at school wearing down on my mind and damaging my heart. Considering what I told him, even that would be a conscientious interpretation.
直接話はしたのか？
後で話すつもり。明日突然先生が来て病院へ行きましょうじゃ騙してるみたいだもの。でもね、あの子の気持ちを考えるとわかるの。 仲の良かった友達だけが先に引っ越しちゃって、一人残されて、その気持ちを汲み取ってやればよかったのに、リカは、最初から引っ越ししたくないってずっと言ってた。その気持ちの整理も待たず、一方的に押さえつけてしまって。
山本先生は明日の何時にいらっしゃるんだ？
夕方って言ってたけど、時間は聞かなかったわ。できたらお父さんもいてほしいって。
ああ、夕方は集会所にいるが、山本先生がいらっしゃったら呼んでくれ。
わかりました。
気を落とさずに。リカが元の世界に帰りたいと言い出す気持ちはよくわかるが、でももうどうしようもない。国と村とで決まってしまった話だ。ならせめてひなみ沢に住んでいたことを思い出すとき、楽しい思い出を。
そうですね。
もう時間だから行くぞ。リカのことを頼む。
はい、いってらっしゃい。
I snapped back to the kitchen, the same as I'd come. I think the floorboards must have creaked. When my mother returned to the kitchen, she didn't sound particularly
聞いて
cheerful.
たの、リカ。今日ね、山本先生から電話をもらったわ。リカが山本先生に相談した話のことを教えて。
みー、勝手におしゃべりするなんて、山本はひどいやつなのです。
ごめんね。リカはずっとこの村に住んでいたかったのよね。その気持ちを考えず、だいぶ厳しい言葉をたくさんぶつけてしまった気がする。
いいのですよ。別に、そんなことは気にしてませんです。
My mother's apologies meant to be heard by the weak Frude living in this world. It wasn't for me to accept, so I denied it. My mother kept apologizing anyway. I was going to deny it again, but I stopped. It wasn't my turn. I should pull back. And I thought I felt myself beginning to fade out. As I did, I felt my eyes grow warm. The rest was, for me, a misty, hazy world. I cried as I buried my face in my mother's chest, and my mother cried as well as she hugged me. I could have disappeared like that. This too might have been Rika Furude's life. That my mother told a lot of stories of Hinamizawa as if to reminisce about her own childhood. What it was like as a kid, what she did and where. Things happening or not happening. As she talked, we comforted each other, both of us wanting our beloved village to stay in our hearts forever.
それでね、お母さんが子供の頃はすっごく村のお年寄りに大事にしてもらったの。それはね、お母さんがお社様の生まれ変わりって
お社様の生まれ変わりって？
リカには話したことがなかったわね。フルデ家には古い言い伝えがあってね、第一子が8代続けて女の子だったら、その子はお社様の生まれ変わりであるってそれがね、お母さんなの。
私じゃなくて。
This is different as well. She has another
リカ
ancestor.
も女の子で第一子だけど、9人目に当たるわね。うちは女系なのかしら。お母さんが8人目、お社様の生まれ変わりなの。でも、これは内緒よ。誰にも言ってはいけないことになってるの。だからこのことを知っているのは、死んだおばあちゃんと私とリカだけ。お母さんとあなたとの秘密よ。ね。
Sometimes, as proof of trust between girls, they reveal secrets to one another. My mother, it's probably a trivial secret, used for that reason. For me, it was different. Ani was first able to appear before the 8th of 8 consecutive generations of girls, or Oeshiro-sama's reincarnation. But in this world, Rika Furude wasn't the 8th. She wasn't Oeshiro-sama's reincarnation. So, in this world, Hanyu couldn't appear before Rika Furude. That was when my face buried in my mother's chest, I felt a warmth. No, a literal heat. Does she have a fever? No. It felt the same as Hanyu's power. Well, this was a secret. My grandmother died So only one who knew my mother was Oishiro-sama's reincarnation, the woman herself. And until my mother was gone, the fragment of there already being a reincarnation of Oishiro-sama in this world would disappear. The warm tears ceased to flow. I felt my eyes drying up as I plummeted to the bottom of the abyss of despair. It was her. Mom had the fragment in her. If I would have chosen never to remember what the fact entailed. I tried using the crystal ball with Yamamoto today. It still hadn't recovered enough for him to talk to Hanyu. Only half a day had passed. Maybe if I went to the storehouse, I'd get through. Hanyu once told me the old air from the past remained in the storehouse, and she felt comfortable there. Maybe that meant the storehouse was filled with Hanyu's power. In other words, while the crystal ball didn't quite have enough power, maybe being in the storehouse would help a little. Late that night, I slipped out of bed and snuck into the storehouse. I wanted nothing more than to talk to Hanyu. I went to the altar before the holy vessel and spoke into the crystal ball.
聞こえる？羽生。
The light in the ball was feeble. Its otherworldly glow was clearly present. Please let me hear. My wish was granted in a quiet voice, so low it might disappear at any moment, spoke in answer.
聞こえますのですよ、リカ。羽生、よかった。聞いて。私。どうしていいかわかんないの。わかんない。
This wasn't the time for crying. I needed to tell her everything I discovered and ask Hanyu's opinion. I quashed my frantic emotions and told her the fragment was in my mother. Hanyu stayed quiet for a few moments. He knew, of course, that I'd have to kill my mother to return the fragment to the world of the
納
gods.
得よね。あんたはお社様の生まれ変わりの前に姿を現す。この世界の私は8代目じゃないから9代目はダメってことなの。大昔のことです。私ですらほとんど忘れてしまった太古の昔。
It happened back when Hanyu was still living in Hinamizawa, before Hanyu became Oyashiro-sama. How it all began, which Hanyu never told me about no matter how much I asked her. One of the side stories I didn't do on stream, because there's like 18 that I didn't do on stream and we would have been here for like 1,000 years, is Hanyu's backstory, which is a really good side story arc if you want another one to look at.
僕が、いえ、私が神になろうと決めたとき、私の娘、リカのご先祖は、それをとても悲しみました。私がそう決めたのが、人の世に絶望したからだと知っていたからです。
I took all the sins of the human world upon me. There's no other way to cleanse those sins other than to destroy the sinners themselves. People were forcing their sins on each other, an ugly existence. Excessive cruelty caused me to lose hope in this world. I undertook all the sins of the human world and cleansed them by letting them kill me. I entrusted that final duty to my own daughter. I thought that unless I gave her that role, I would one day be despised as the daughter of a demon god, whose all hope in the human world herself. My daughter didn't like that role, but she understood the weight of her mission, and in the end she went through with it. She said something to me. She would change the human world into the only in which only the price of life could purify its sins. Humans would combine their strengths and help each other, operating with mutual benefit in mind. She swore to me that she'd create this utopia which her mother had only dreamed of. Please, Mother, do not lose hope in the world of man. I swear I shall heal that sadness. If I would become a god, I couldn't accept my daughter's feelings. No, actually that wasn't it. I'd already lost hope in the corrupt world of man. I just didn't want to look at it anymore. My daughter made a firm promise that she would remake the world into something better. I shall believe in what you feel. When in this land of people living happily, aid one another, support one another, and think as one, I shall return to this land once more. My daughter killed me and took control of the village, buying the power of the demon god dwelling within her. She became their leader and created doctrines that everyone would trust and help one another. To make them fear a curse or discordant heart to revive the specter of the demon god. She led them strictly, not letting my purification go to waste. Those purified sins would never again revisit the village. And so the village did regain a temporary peace, but I never descended to them again. I had rejected the human world much too strongly. No matter how strong the power to reject, it can never last forever. Their hearts are walls or lids or doors. There's nothing that time will not decay. And the power shutting you away from the human world wouldn't last forever. My daughter would learn the limits of that world through a revelation from a higher god than me. It was said that when 8 generations of Furude bore a girl as their first child, I would come again. The miracle of 8 consecutive firstborn girls would be the key that broke my power of rejection. My daughter left that legend with the Furude family and passed it down to her descendants, that this land would continue becoming my ideal.
だからリカ、あなたが8人目として生まれた時、僕は人の世との接点を、確かに大昔は人の世を嫌って、でも誰とも交流できない1000年は私の悲しみを癒してもなおあまりある時間。いつしか私は誰とも交流できない世界に、むしろ悲しみすら覚えるようになりました。私が拒んだつもりでいた1000年は、実は私を閉ざす罰のような1000年でもあったのです。私は人の世を浅はかな気持ちで嫌い、絶望したことを悟りました。そして悟り始めた時、フルデ家に女子が続けて生まれ始めた。あなたの母が身ごもった時、それが女子であってほしいと私がどれだけ祈ったことか。でしょうね。私が最初に見た顔は母じゃなくてあんただった気がするもの。この1000年は人の世を見限った私に対する、人は人の世に生きる、そして生まれた世界に懸命でなくてはならない。それを軽んじ世界を容易に手放そうとする者は、1000年にも及ぶ流罪に等しい罰を受けなければならないのかもしれません。
Honey's words were heavy. We having been carefree in our walk between countless worlds, and comparing our own lives to dice rolls, we have been sinful.
私は1000年ぶりの友人であり、娘であるあなたと人生を共にしました。そして昭和58年の袋小路にぶつかり、私は再び罪を犯しました。あなたの運命を変えるために力を使ったことです。私たちは一番最初のあの世界で高野に腹を裂かれて死ぬ運命を受け入れるべきだったと言いたいの。リカには残酷でしょうが、今の僕にはそう思います。僕は僕の生きる世界をないがしろにした。そしてリカの生きる世界までないがしろにしている。あなたと一緒の世界に懸命に生き、その最後を形に関わらず歓迎すべきであった。やめて。あんたは自虐によって心地いいかもしれないけど、私には不愉快だ。あんな運命に屈服したくない。もっともっと素晴らしい人生のためにどこまでも戦っていこうって言って、あんたと100年にも及ぶ旅路を共にしたはず。その果てにそんなことを言い出すなんてめちゃくちゃだわ。そんなのはあんたの干渉よ。そうしてあんたは私と共に築いてきたこの100年と その果てに掴んだ世界もないがしろにしようというのね。勝手な話じゃない。死にゆく獣を助けて越に浸るのは人の罪です。雪山は獣を殺し、その数を神に委ねます。私が死ぬのも運命だったと今頃言い出すわけ？あんたどうかしてるわ。あんたがどう言おうと、私たちの勝ち取った世界は汗の結晶のような世界よ。その輝きは私とあなたにしかわからないはず。そのあなたがあの世界を否定するの。リカ、話を戻します。僕は8代目のあなたと一緒にこの世界を満喫したら、あなたの人生の終末と一緒に消え去るつもりでした。あなたが生きているうちには関係ないことだから。その世界ではあなたの母が8代目。つまりすでに私は人の世と接点を持ち、素晴らしいひなみ沢に満足して、さらに上の世界へ消え去った後の世界なのです。私がもう消え去っている後の世界だから、そこに私は現れることができない。でもそこにあんたの世界のかけらが紛れ込んでる。そしてそれが母にあった。つまり母が8代目であることを母しか知らない。それを殺せばあんたが現れることができないという矛盾の力が消える。正解？そうです。本来ならリカのお母さんがその世界の8代目であることは歴然とした事実であり、お母さんを殺したからといって変わることではありません。ですが異なる世界から漂着したリカには、それは例えるなら船をつなぎ止めるもやいと同じ。その事実を知るのがお母さんだけで幸いでした。もし他にも大勢知る人がいたなら、リカは元の世界に戻るために母を殺すべきか、この世界にとどまるべきか。そうよ。私もリカのいる世界がどういう世界か、そしてそこがどういう世界なのかを理解し、やがてこの日が訪れることを予想していました。悩んだリカが私に相談することも、そしてその結果を受けて世界を選ぼうとすることも予想だから悩みました。あなたをどう神の世の言葉と違い、人の世の言葉は狭い。どう言葉を選んでも意味が偏る。あなたに本当の意味で選んでもらうためにはどう言葉をかけるべきか、本当に悩みました。そして今も悩んでいます。なぜならあなたが私に答えを委ねているから。私がこっちの世界にせよと助言したなら、そちらを選ぶ気でいる。そのために払う代価の責任を私に転嫁しながら、それは卑劣なことだし、そんなことで選んだ人生に価値はない。あなたはあまたの世界を渡り歩き、人の世の外側に足跡を残した人間として責任ある選択をしなくてはならない。私に頼ることなく自分の力で。言いたいことはわかるわ。あんたの言う通りにしたからこうなった。なんて責任転嫁されたらたまらないもんね。自分の人生自分で決めろってことくらい理解できるわ。伝えたかったのです。私はリカと人生を一緒にできて幸せでした。そしてあまたの世界を共にし、ひなみ沢が優しい助け合いに満ちていたことを知りました。私の欲しかった世界は全て満たされたのです。だからリカが私のいない世界を選び、僕がこのまま消えてしまっても幸せだと、それを伝えたかったのです。はい。
I knew it foreseen this, seen that this world would grow ever warmer for me. Hanyu herself was in opposition to this world. The amount of discussing this with Hanyu was from the previous world would only make it more difficult to forsake that one. She had even anticipated that after discussing with her, I would need to make a decision from an impartial viewpoint. That's why she said it. She wanted to accept whatever fate Rika Furude's decision gave her. She didn't want me to worry about her and live in a world that I liked the best.
仮にこの世界に生きることを選んだとして、あんたはどうなるの？リカと僕の長い旅はその世界のルールで終焉します。つまりリカにはその世界での人生が、そして僕にはその世界ですでに終わってしまった事実が適用される。つまりあんたは消えてしまうってことじゃない。でもそれはとても心地よいことなのです。リカはそれを僕の死と考えるようですが、僕もその世界における自分は死んでいると。ですがその世界における羽生は消えてしまってはいますが、あなたのお母さんと人生を共にして楽しい時間を過ごした。お母さんはまだ生きていますが、その世界の僕は優しさに包まれながら二度と目覚めぬまどろみの中で、その温かさと心地よさはきっとこの世に生まれ入れる前の母の体内にも似ている。それを知ってしまったから、僕はリカがむしろその世界を受け入れた方がいいとすら思っていた。あんた本気？リカも1000年を生きてみればこの温かさを理解できるようになりますのですよ。
I could feel the ecstasy in Hanyu's words. They had lived for a millennium, and she understood that in a way I
冗談じゃ
couldn't.
ない。私は100歳程度の若造だから理解不能よ。リカ、もういい加減に僕のことを理由に選択肢から逃れるのをやめ。
That was the truth. My old world and this one are being weighed on scales in my heart. It doesn't tip it even slightly towards either side. Trying to shift the responsibility for choosing them to Hanyu is just me being
リカの選
irresponsible.
択の助けになるよう、私の知るその世界の蘇生を全て話しましょう。まず私たちに運命が打ち破れることを何度も教えてくれる彼は、この世界では転校してきません。とっくに知ってるわ。クラスにいなかった。圭一は一時期受験勉強のストレスから心を病みますが、元の世界のようにおもちゃの鉄砲で人を撃つような真似はしなかった。より心を強くしてその誘惑に耐え、ついに心の弱みを克服します。今の圭一は自らに胸を張れる強い意志を持った人間として待ち受ける受験に力強く臨もうとしています。圭一の罪がないわけね。だから引っ越しもしない。竜宮レナも両親の会社が潰れませんから茨城への引っ越しをしませんでした。だから離婚も起きない。だからそれを理由にレナが罪を感じることもない。
Rena had no
そ
sin
の崎
either.
ミオンとその崎シオンは背中に入れ墨を入れる儀式の日入れ替わりをしませんでした。なるほど。学校のミオンがどことなく雰囲気が違うような気がしてた。ボードゲームが大好きなはずなのに妹が詳しいなんて言い方をしてたし。なるほど。だからミオンは当主後継ぎの座を妹に押し付けることにならず、当主の修行をしながら日々を過ごしています。そしてシオンも本家の邪魔にならず影から支えられるよう遠方の学園で一人、今日あの姉妹はかつて入れ墨の入れ替わりで互いに罪を感じ合っていた。それがないってこと。
Mion and Shion had no
こ
sin.
れ以上話す必要もないでしょうが、北条聡子にも親殺しの罪がありません。聡子は義理の父との交流を深め、家 族仲を再構築しました。そのため悪い病気に取りつかれることもなかった。北条家も村と敵対せずひどい仕打ちも受けない。だから里子に罪がない。いや里子たち一家にとってここは理想の世界ということね。
Sadako and her family? Wait, no. This the ideal world for everybody? Keiichi came to Himizawa because he had committed a sin. In this world he didn't, and now was living his very best. Rena avoided her sad fate too, and never sinned. Called herself by her given name, Reina, and was living happily. Mian and Shion were leading happy lives too, without the tattoo incident, but friendly sisters the way they'd been born. They're forced to live apart due to family matters, but that wouldn't be enough to tear them apart. Sadako, this world was exactly the world of her dreams. Surrounded by the warmth of her family and big brother, she was leading a bright and healthy life. This is the world that I, as her friend, should be wishing for the most. Satoshi, while this was the only world in which he still existed, and all the worlds I'd been to, this was the only one where he was still alive. Satoshi couldn't exist anywhere but here. Rika Furude, Rika, this world was. Maybe I had 0 friends. Compared to my old world, that was very sad. I could change that now through time and effort. Maybe I was sad Keiichi wasn't here. Keiichi was living a resolute life in the place he originally lived. Said I had Satoshi. It wasn't the same as Keiichi, but he was very kind and considerate. In the club, I was disappointed it didn't exist could start the very next day if I wanted it to. But your siblings, Mion, Rena, and me. I have stolen nothing. I only scolded you for spending space bits. If anything, I stole your sleep, but I didn't steal your sleep. What would the club be like with so many people? I didn't think I'd be able to compare it to the fun we had with Keiichi and the rest. I knew I wouldn't be able to place one over the other. My parents were in this world. I'd already learned how to interact with them as Rika Furude and regain the love of her family. See, there you go. My parents were in the previous world, but I had lively roommates that wouldn't leave me feeling lonely. Sadako, and Hanyu. I chose this world, I'd have to say goodbye to Hanyu, the friend I'd spent 100 years with. Friend? Now what if Hanyu said was true, that she was my ancestor, and a mother to me? Which meant she was on the exact same level as my father and mother. She was my family. My parents and Hanyu were both very important to me. Couldn't possibly weigh them against each other.
その世界は誰かの夢が作り出したあなたに関わる全ての人間に罪がない。それはとてもとても純粋で透き通った美しい世界なのです。その世界では私はすでに消え去っており、リカの人生を汚していない。だから僕には罪がない。そしてリカ、あなたも自らの人生を汚していないから罪がない。あの高野に罪がない。誰から誰まで罪がない真っ白な世界。そうです。今のリカはその世界を選ぶことができます。これは僕にも預かり知れない運命のサイコロの神様が100年の旅の果てにくださった貴重な機会なのかもしれません。もう少し慈悲深い与え方だったらよかったのにね。ですからその神様は元の世界へ戻る道も与えてくれました。ハニー、あんたは娘に撃たれたって言ってた。私が自分の人生を選ぶために。リカのお母さんならこう言うでしょう。娘が幸せになれるなら自分の命など惜しくないと。リカにはまだわかりません。子を持ち母となった身にしかわからぬ気持ちです。かつて一度は母になったからわかる。もしリカが 元の世界の方が幸せだったと言えるなら。
まさかあの人に限ってそんなこと言うわけないでしょ。頭は大丈夫って言われてヒステリックに叫ばれるだけよ。
And I remembered my mother's smile when we made curry together. It would be so strange yet such fearsome words came from her mouth.
娘に撃たれたことを、そのおかげで娘に引き継がれたかもしれない罪が払われたのです。私が命を惜しんでいたら、娘もまた私と同じように迫害されていたかもしれないのですから。
でもあんたを撃った娘の気持ちを考えたことはある？死んだ方は気楽よね。勝手に献身美徳によって成仏できる。でもね、殺した方はその十字架を背負ってずっと生きていくのよ。あんたさっき言わなかった？あんたを撃った娘があんたのために助け合いの心の宿るひなみ。そして1000年かけてあんたの娘たちはあんたの罪に付き合ったのよ。あんたは死ぬべきじゃなかったんじゃない？何の罪を背負わされたのか知らないけど生きて戦うべきだった。子孫が罪を背負わずに済むように戦うべきだった。なのにあんたが屈したから1000年もの間あんたの子孫たちがあんたの十字架を背負い続けた。そうじゃないの。
Hanyu was silent. That without a doubt was Hanyu's sin. It's easy to die for her daughter's sake. Her daughter's guilt would never heal. When Hanyu answered, she remained undaunted.
ならリカ、私は生きて戦うべきだったというリカ、あなたはその世界にいる今どうするというのですか？その世界にいるという現実を受け入れ、元の世界と異なるいくつかの違和感と戦いながら、100年の果てに掴んだ手垢と汗にまみれた、それでもなお美しいあの世界。
That's right, maybe this world was beautiful. That didn't mean my old world's shown wasn't beautiful too. Why wouldn't it be? We won that fate after such a long journey.
あなたは100年の末に掴んだあの世界を、ならこの世界の居心地がどんなに良くてもそれを全て投げ捨ててこの世界にとどまりたい気持ちを打ち払って戦ってでも元の世界へ帰るべきなのではないですか？あなたに関わる人々が罪から解放されたこの世界を打ち壊してでも。
My daughter, who tells me to fight. You too should fight. Fight is not to defeat and overcome the obstacles before you. In the end, that is no more than a simple detour on the straight path before you. Truly fight is to make your own choices. Every choice in life, at every crossroads, people hesitate. Having one choice brightly illuminated and then selecting it, such a predetermined choice is not a fight. No matter how many times you are presented with a choice, you choose the same one, it's inevitability. A real choice is when you truly think and worry, and you never know which one you should choose. It's precisely the same as the choice between a red box and a blue box you spoke of once before. When you choose the red box, you have a blue. Choose without guidance demands incredible courage and determination. That is a true choice. If you knew what was in the boxes, it would no longer be a choice. Because you do not know what's inside that you can be satisfied with what is in the box you chose. If you knew the contents of the other, it could lead to despair. And left at a crossroads with no guidance and no hints is what it means to live. You may lazily continue to choose the right, or knock over the sign and choose at random. Also search carefully for hints, worrying over how beneficial the left or right would be and remain at the crossroads forever. Thus, you'll be able to accept the final result awaiting you as your own responsibility, would you not? Do not grow old and go to your coffin wanting advice from your parents, would you? Worry, choose, and go forward. That is the fight. I earnestly worried and chose my own life. My daughters earnestly worried and chose their own lives. Each and every one of us that is scared is precious. To send 1,000 years ago, 1,000 years later must not sully that. All who live in that age were always beautiful. does not speak of their lives using their values of later generations.
最後にとても重要なことを話しますです。リカと僕をつなぐそのカムの御事のりの力は、もうじきその力を永遠に失います。僕がその世界に干渉することは永遠にありません。
あんたにありがたい説教をもらうのも今夜限りってわけね。
それからもう一つ、リカのお母さんに現れたかけらは明日の日没と同時にその力を永遠に失います。失うのは消えるという意味じゃない。リカの手でかけらを取り戻せる機会が永遠に失われるという意味です。
つまり明日の夕方までに決断しなくちゃ元の世界に戻るという選択肢もなくなるってことね。選択を保留するという第三の選択肢はないってことか。
いいえ、選択を逃げ最後の時間にわざと目をつむり、消極的にその世界にとどまる道を選ぶこともできます。その場合は積極的に選んだ場合と違った生き方になるでしょうが。
Whether or not I choose proactively is also whether or not I would accept this world. Continue to live without accepting it, I would drag along all the distress that I currently held forever. Compared to that, it may be a lot better just to choose one or the other. Even that wasn't easy. And you had said that that very distress itself was the battle.
さあ、リカ、戦いなさい。その戦いは明日の日没まで続く。でもどうか逃げないで。なぜならどちらの世界を決断したとしてもその世界は必ず素晴らしいものだから。あの100年を戦い抜き得た世界が素晴らしかったように、戦い抜いて選んだ世界は必ず素晴らしくなる。だからリカ、決して戦わぬことで片方を選ばぬように。悩まぬ選択肢の結果に人間が満足することは絶対にないのだから。
ありがとう羽生。私戦ってみるわ。この選択ともしあなたと再会できるなら元の世界で、もしこの世界だったならゆっくりと休んで1000年の疲れを癒して。今日までありがとう。本当にありがとう。私あなたの力のおかげで自分の人生を何度でもやり直せるものだと勘違いしてきた。そんな私じゃきっと元の世界に生きてもどっかでおかしくなったと思う。何かにちょっとでもつまずいたらやり直せばいいやって簡単に考えたと思う。そんなんじゃ素晴らしい世界になんてなるわけないよね。その意味ではあなたがこの力を私に使わなければよかったという罪もでもそれは軽い人生を歩んできた私の罪でもある。あまたの世界でサイコロを振り直すと称して自分の命を粗末にした。この世界はそんな私に人生の重さを教えてくれたんだと思う。その末がどっちに転んでも素敵な世界だなんて本当にラッキーじゃない。私は多分あまたの世界で一番幸運な人間に違いないわ。ありがとう羽生。こんなバカで身の程知らずの私に最後の最後まで温かな言葉をかけてくれて。私一生懸命悩むよ。いっぱいいっぱい悩んで
本当に本当に素敵な世界をつかみ取るから。だからありがとう羽生。ねえ返事して。
Crystal ball was now quiet and cold in my hands, gave only a dull reflection of the flashlight that illuminated me. I shed all the tears I could, but if I didn't, I would hesitate when it came time to choose. So I cried out everything I had, thanked her for our 100-year relationship. Depending on my choice, I might never get to say those words again. And I replaced the crystal ball on the altar, where it was now just a marble, slipped out of the storehouse and crawled back into bed. There was no way I was going to sleep. At least that was what I thought until I wrapped myself in linens, felt the cool wind on my bare feet, and drifted off to sleep without realizing it. Rika Furude was going to sleep. I was going to sleep. Good night, everyone. Good night. Me. The sun rose again on another wonderful day for Rika Furude. She took her first step, her first small effort to become friends with her classmates again. At home, she was wrapped in her parents' love. The sun brightened her wonderful world, her wonderful day, fell behind the mountains and disappeared. Long, long ago, there was a god who appeared before mankind. Bread rained down from the heavens. Some lamented it was not meat. Meat rained down from the heavens. Some lamented that they preferred bread. God descended down from the heavens. Till I know it will make them all happy, water shall rain down. Water rained down from the heavens. All lamented that their clothes grew wet. Fire rained down from the heavens. All lamented that their homes burned down. God descended from the heavens. Until I know what will make you all happy, nothing shall rain down. Nothing rained down from the heavens. Some lamented that God had abandoned them. Anything rains down from the heavens. Some lamented that God cannot make a choice. Huge rocks rained down from heavens. Long last, there were none who lamented. Water rained down from the heavens. A passing traveler was grateful. God, thank you for the unexpected weather. With this, my journey will never be dull. God said nothing and watched him leave, all for the best. God's dice and voice remained silent.
あ、私がわかりますか、リカちゃん。
わかり、ここは。
Hearing that answer, Nurse burst out of the room in sheer surprise. How rude.
入江先生は大至急呼んで、リカちゃんの意識が戻りましたって伝えてください。
Head hurts.
よかった。本当によかった。何があったか覚えてますか？
ここは診療所ですか？
そうです。あなたはお友達とひなみ沢へ帰る途中、事故に遭って頭部を強打し、ずっと意識が戻らなかったのです。このままもう意識が帰ってこないのではないかと危ぶまれていました。よかった。本当によかった。
Kirei even a few tears in his eyes as he spoke. I was still just a little scared. I wanted to make sure this was the world I knew so well. I mustered my courage and asked Irie.
ええ、お友達のみんなもとても心配していたんですよ。さとこちゃんはもちろん、前原さんもミオンさんもレナさんも。残念ながらサトシ君はまだ目を覚ませる状態にはありませんが。
僕のお母さんは。
記憶が長く意識が戻らないと
死んでるのですか？
ええ、2年前の綿流しの日に眠っている間、お母さんの夢を見ていたのですか？
ありがとう。もういいのです。
Knowing that my mother is dead gives me a complex feeling. There wasn't any doubt that this was the world I knew so well. According to Erie, it had been a little over a month since the accident. Telling me he'd be right back, he scrambled out of the room. Left in my hospital rooms, filled with the voices of cicadas, do nothing but wander through my vague memories for a time. I was fooling around on my bike while heading home from playing at the pool with everyone, and got hit by a car, right? The world I woke to after that is still vivid in my mind. This is my original world, then for grappling with that difficult choice, I chose my old world and safely ended my long journey to return to it? Was that just all a long dream I had? Like Erie said while I was in a coma from the accident. I didn't know.
羽生いる？よかった。目覚めた時にあんたが最初に見つからない世界は本当に
そんなこと今までに一度だいつだってリカが目を覚ました時には一番最初に目に入るのはこの僕なのですよ。
When speaks to me while wearing an affectionate expression, for saying that at length just makes me remember the worlders a few moments ago. For the first time, Honey wasn't there when I woke up.
あの世界は夢だったの？それとも現実？
リカの言っている意味がよくわかりませんのです。何かありましたのですか？
本気で言ってるの？
リカが何の話をしているのか僕にはわかりませんのです。
Was Honey playing dumb, or was she telling the truth? Couldn't tell.
私がさっきまでいたあの世界は夢なの？
夢です。
Honey answered immediately. Hearing that convinced me. Sinless world was no dream.
じゃあ
The low stars over Hyrule, how's it going?
私はこの手で
You come in to murder.
まさか
My mother had the fragment. Doing pretty good, other than murdering people. I shouldn't have been able to return to my original world without killing her. If I was here, that meant I killed her. Then after I killed her, I had to kill myself, like usual, to send myself to the world of the gods. Immediately when I die, I was back through my memories right before the events and tears them apart. It was only natural that my memories of personally killing my mother didn't remain. Trembling, I looked at the palms of my hands. They were pure white, pale and bloodless. No, that was just it. That alone made me remember the feeling spread across my hands, that warm, sticky, slimy sensation. My fragment welled up inside me. Something inside me was desperately holding back the memories of that alien world, trying for some reason, desperately holding them back. They spilled out. They would surely swallow me whole.
リカ、落ち着きなさいのです。
Honey put her hand on my forehead. Felt as though something was grabbing my lungs in a fist. A sense of suffocation. Something was squeezing the breath out of me. It was squeezing those feelings about to swallow me up too, and they couldn't come up any further. In exchange for the choking sensation, I gulped down the rising emotions, beginning to steadily regain my composure. Anya realized it and took her hand away.
落ち着きましたのですか？リカは長く眠っていましたから混乱しているのでしょう。しばらくは入江の言う通りお薬を飲んだりして静養するといいのです。
羽生でも教えて、あの世界は本当に。
ほら、みんなが来ましたのですよ。僕はお邪魔でしょうから しばらく姿を消しますのです。
I started to hear many footsteps running down the hallway. Anya whirled around as though pivoting on her heel and vanished. The strange hostile door clattered violently open, and my beloved club member friends appeared.
リカ
サトコ。
おいおい、サトコ。リカちゃんは病み上がりなんだぞ。いきなりひっついちゃ。
いいんだよ、ケイチくん。よかった。本当によかった。
Thinking, Sadako fell to her knees on the spot and started bawling without hesitation.
リカちゃん、私たちは絶対にリカちゃんが帰ってくるって信じてたよ。
ああ、俺たち全員が一つのことを信じた時、絶対に奇跡が起こるんだからな。高野さんたちとのあのすげえ戦いだって、全員が奇跡を信じたから勝利できたんじゃねえか。
みんなね、必ずリカちゃんが帰ってくるって信じてたよ。毎日お見舞いに来てたんだよ。必ず明日は目覚めるって信じて毎日お見舞いに来てたんだよ。
監督が言うには少々記憶に混乱が出てるって話。まさかとは思うけど、おじさんたちのことを忘れちゃいないよね。
サトコとレナ、ケイチのことはわかりますが、ミーのことはわかりませんのです。ミパ
ー大丈夫みたいだな。
This was something I could never have asked before. Just to make absolutely sure this was my original world, I asked anyway, pretending my memory was still confused.
サトシは来ないのですか？
Sadako gave a somewhat lonely smile and spoke.
ニーニーは一昨年に家出しちゃったきり帰ってこないじゃありませんの。リカったら忘れん坊さんですわね。
Expression made my chest tighten. It was definitely the Sadako from my original world.
なるほど、確かに多少記憶が混乱してるみたいだね。一過性だそうだから気にすることはないってさ。寝起きに電話もらったら寝ぼけて変なこと言っちゃうのと同じだそうだから。
そうだね。だって1ヶ月近くもずっと眠ってた。骨も
その1ヶ月の間、夢を見ていた気がしますです。私たちが心配してたのはよそにずいぶん気楽なことでございますわね。そこはとっても不思議な世界だった気がします。そこはここと同じひなみ沢なのですが、いろいろなところが違っていました。まずケイチがいませんのです。
おいおい、なんだよ、俺だけのけ者かよ。
それはケイチが鉄砲の事件を起こしていない世界だからなのですよ。ケイチがあれだけ後悔したあの事件がない世界。それだけじゃないのです。
Oh my god, this is like the third opera ad I've had in the last hour.
Maybe you should just get it then.
I'm not gonna get opera because I've seen 3 ads for opera.
I realized this would be my only chance to confess my own sin. Everyone listened as I told them all about that world. Whenever some small thing was different, they'd respond one way or another about it. They listened to me seriously. Samus says hi, by the way.
Hi, Samuses!
そして僕がここにいるということは、その世界とこの世界を天秤にかけ、こっちの世界を選んだからだと思いますです。
それは多分三途の川のこっちと向こうだね。臨死体験ってやつだと思うよ。向こうの世界を選んでいたらリカちゃんは多分帰ってこられなかったね。
向こうを選べば確かに僕は帰ってこなかったと思いますのです。
俺たちはみんなリカちゃんが帰ってくるって信じてたぜ。そしてリカちゃんも帰ると信じたから、お互いの手が届き合ったってことなんだろうな。眠りながらリカちゃんも帰ってくるために努力したってことなんだろうと思うぜ。偉い偉い。
She grinned and patted my head. Seemed like he was mistaken what I meant. If I hadn't returned, compared that world and this one, and chosen this one. Why had I chosen this world? Because this was the more comfortable to be in. Sadako was always with me, everyone in the club was here, and they were nice to me and spoiled me. All that was still a world built on top of everyone's sins and misfortune. In other words, I'd chosen to sacrifice the others for my own happiness. Shamelessly, self-centeredly, and selfishly. Everyone was fulfilled in that world, only I wasn't. But I knew that I too could be happy there if I put in the hard work. But at the very end, I'd chosen this world. I chose the world where I could rest on my laurels atop the suffering and tears of my friends.
それはとっても面白そうな世界だね。ありがとう。レナたちのことをせめて夢の中だけでも幸せにしてくれたんだね。
Brenda smiled as she said that. Only she seemed to understand what I really meant by what I'd said.
でもね、もしその2つの世界をレナにも選ばせてもらえるなら、レナはこっちの世界を選んで正解だと思うかな。どうしてなのですか？確かにレナにとってお母さんの離婚はとっても悲しい出来事だった。そのせいでいろいろなことが変わっちゃったけど、でもそのおかげで学び取ったたくさんのこともある。だからね、リカちゃんの言う向こうの世界のレイナはきっとこの世界のレナよりも人間的に劣っていると思う。リカちゃんはレナのことをレイナであっても模範的な人間だと夢で思ってくれたようだけど、レナが本当にレイナだった時はあまり尊敬できる人じゃなかった。だからレナはお母さんの離婚はとても辛くて悲しいことだったけど、人生の試練の一つだったんじゃないかなって今は受け入れることができるもん。
人生の試練やあるいは挫折が人を成長させるってのは確かにあるね。
そうだな、レナの言うのは俺にもわかるぜ。その世界の俺はひなみ沢に来てねえが、多分ろくでもないやつだったと思うぜ。あの事件は確かに俺にとって生涯忘れちゃいけない痛恨の極みだ。俺は死ぬまで反省していかなきゃならないと思う。でもあの事件をきっかけにレナが言うように俺もたくさんの大切なことを学んだ。過去のあの事件をなかったことにできる世界があったらってのは確かに魅力的ではあるかもしれない。でも俺はそんなことを思いはしないぜ。今日という日の前原圭一を積み上げてきた大切な礎の一つだと思ってる。
それを言ったら私もですわ。甘ったれてた以前の私だったらニーニーがいる限りずっと甘え続けていましたもの。ニーニーがいなくならない世界があったらというのは確かに魅力的なお誘いではありますけど、でも甘ったれた私がニーニーと一緒にいても何の意味もないんですもの。なら私はこの世界の方がいいですわ。今の自分なら胸を張ってニーニーの帰りを待てますもの。
本当にみんなそう思うのですか？罪は消せないとあれだけ悩み苦しんだのに、その罪がないことになっている綺麗な世界を選べる選択肢を自ら拒否するというので。レナはこっちの世界の方が尊いと思うよ。どうしてですか？だってこの世界の今日という未来は全員で勝ち取ったんだもん。その世界のみんなはただダラダラ生きてるだけでしょ？ダラダラと。それでいて罪なく生きることは罪なのでしょうか？罪じゃないよ。でもこちらの方が尊い。温室で育った苦労知らずの花も美しいと思う。でも風雨や暑さ寒さに耐えて花を咲かせた野花には美しさだけじゃないものが宿るんじゃないかな。レナはそういうものの大切さを言ってるだけ。傷だらけの野花に何を恥じることがあるの？でも
温室で育つのと野原で育つのを選べと言われたら。
わかった。そこがそもそもリカちゃんの間違いなんだね。だってレナたちは野に芽生えた野花だもの。花を咲かせた後にありえなかった未来を想像してそれと比べるのは何の意味もないことだよ。リカちゃんの話は花より上の人ならざる存在の目線での話だもん。その二つの世界のどちらが幸せか、それを論じることができるのは二つの世界を行き来できる神様だけ。でもリカちゃんという人間は一つの世界にしか存在しない。そうじゃない。どちらの世界にもいるけど行き来はできない。野花のリカちゃんも温室のリカちゃんもどちらも存在する。そしてどちらもその世界の運命に従い胸を張って生きていると思うよ。その時野花が温室で育ったなら何も苦労がなかっただろうになんていう時点でそれはもうおかしいことなの。根付き芽生えた場所で精一杯育って精一杯の花を咲かせる。
もしも自分が大金持ちの家に生まれてたらなーなんて負け犬の寝言もいいところですわよ。そんな妄想する暇があったらまずは安いスーパーを探して小銭を倹約する努力を始めなさいませですわ。
そうだな。そうして自分に胸を張る聡子は、仮に聡子が大金持ちの世界があったとしてそこの聡子と比べたとしても何も劣っているということはないと思うぞ。
まあ確かに選べるなら大金持ちの方がいいでございますけれども。
リカちゃんはこうしてこっち側の世界で目が覚めてもまだ迷っているんじゃないかな。本当にこっちで良かったのか向こうでも良かったんじゃないかなって未練があるんじゃないかな。
Those words were probably the root of these cheerless feelings. I love this world. Couldn't help but be troubled given the depth of my own sin, of abandoning that world and insisting everyone else be sinners. And I've chosen that world for the sake of everyone I loved. They unanimously decided that this world was better, in a way, just acceptance, since they hadn't been granted the choice of selecting one of the two. That was why everyone thought positively and went with this world. If they could have actually chosen, they'd all be conflicted too.
やっぱりね。だからリカちゃんはその胸の奥にある悲しみが癒せないんだね。
And yet, only Rena seemed to have figured everything out.
そうだ。リカちゃんにもわかるようにゲームで説明してあげるね。ねえみーちゃん、今日飴玉持ってきてなかった？
あるけど。
What was she gonna do? Rena grabbed it with both hands and stuck them out towards me.
さあ、リカちゃんにプレゼントだよ。どっちの手の中身がいいかな？
みー、外れると罰ゲームになったりはしないのですか？
ほう、そんなのないよ。安心して選んで。
And considering how we usually did club games, there really were no hints at all. I looked at the size of Rena's fist, but I couldn't begin to guess which one had the candy in it. Oh, whatever. Time to test my luck.
こっちのグーを選びますのです。
こっちね。はい。
Rena opened her fist and revealed candy. I must have made the right choice.
おめでとう。はい。あーして。
なのです。
おいしい？
It's the standard but non-nostalgic taste of strawberry milk. As it shrunk, as I rolled around my mouth and sucked on it, I couldn't help but give
美
a
味しい
smile.
のですよ、リパ
嬉しい？じゃあリカちゃんの世界は幸せだね。
ー。二択の勝負に勝ったのでとても嬉しいのです。勝利の美酒は美味しいのですよ。
ねえリカちゃん、どうして勝利なの？
み
Rena showed me her other palm, the one I didn't choose. Her hand, she was holding two pieces of candy. In other words, the one I chose was wrong. At that moment, and this is really obvious, but I immediately realized how merry I had
今
been
のその
feeling.
気持ちがリカちゃんの気持ちの正体に近いんじゃない？ 異なる世界と比べるという時点で、それが人の身には過ぎたことなんだよ。それを比べ悩むのは神様の仕事。レナたちの仕事じゃない。与えられる世界は常に一つで、その世界で幸せを見つけるようにできてるの。リカちゃんはその夢の中では二つの世界を行き来できる神様だから、そういう気持ちになってしまう。だからね、反対の手の中なんて気にしちゃダメなの。
I was a witch who lived 100 years in countless worlds. That was exactly why I believed I was special, someone who would overcome millions of choices to gain happiness. That I was able to gain happiness, that I was sure to, but I had it completely backwards. I wasn't better than anyone else when it came to finding happiness. I was the worst of them all. And I remembered how Hanyu had so curtly and quickly told me the other world was a dream. It wasn't a dream, but now that I'd chosen, this was reality. That really was nothing more than a dream. A cat is in a box. You can imagine two futures, one where it's alive and one where it's dead. When you open it, there's only one future. The other future at that moment becomes no more than a dream. One who opens it accepts the future inside and lives. Bringing about which of the two futures was in the box was a job for those who weren't human, those who could interfere with the contents. As a mere human, I had awkwardly trodden into the world of the gods. That's why I misunderstood some important things, wasn't it? In that world, Hanyu had regrets. Regretted having used the power of the gods to interfere with my life. Now I finally understood why. I was quite clear about it. Clearly said that people had to live the best they could in their world. I had to stop being this witch. Yes. I knew now that I was not the witch named Baron Castell, or Rika Frude. My copy had lived for 100 years, bending fate to her whim. And maybe she still exists in some higher dimension than this human world. That was no longer who I was. I was Rika Frude. In this world I would live, and in this world I would seize happiness. I mustn't use that power ever again. Which meant I had to make sure not to treat my own life with that respect from now on. Which
交
meant
通事故には気をつけよう。ってことね。
はあそうだな
はうそうだよ。もう二度と自転車に乗ってる時はふざけちゃダメだよ。そうね、全くその通りだわ。そんな当たり前のことも理解してないお子様が魔女気取りなんだもん。そりゃ全然ダメなわけだわ。
皆さん、とりあえず今日はこのくらいにしてください。リカさんもだいぶ体力が衰えているはずです。もちろん明日以降も面会できますので、今日はこれくらいで休ませてあげましょう。
which appeared and clapped his hands together, but my friends weren't finished saying goodbye just yet.
リカ、もう大丈夫ですか？
ありがとう。口下手のあんたに代わって、レナが全部説明してくれたわ。もう大丈夫。
リカが次に命を落とすとき、僕はその運命を受け入れようと思いますです。
そうね。私もそれでいいんじゃないかと。車道でふざけてるお子様が跳ねられる事故なんて。日本、それがひなみ沢でも起きたってだけのこと。悔しかったら。私も今度から赤信号は渡らないようにしなきゃ。でも、あんたはそれでいいの？私がいないと寂しくなるって。かつてあれだけダダをこねていたのに。
もう大丈夫ですよ。新しい友人ができましたのですから。
へえ、誰よ。紹介してよ。
教えませんのです。
そういうということは、私はつまりフルでリカなのね。
リカがそう思うならそうなのですよ。
ありがとう。
何に対してのありがとうですか？
いろいろよ。
Riri admonished everyone else. They all glumly got ready to go home. Anya too was about to disappear. I clapped my fist in my hand as if remembering something and spoke to her.
ねえ、羽生。
何ですか？
私、向こうの世界であんたに、元の世界に戻れたら、冷蔵庫をシュークリームでいっぱいにしてやるって約束。あれって、夢だからチャラなのよね。せめてもの仕返しよ。
リカ、明日のお見舞いに何か持ってきますわ。何か食べたいものはございますの？
確かリカちゃん辛いのが好きだったよね。ゴグラのデパートで韓国食材フェアとかやってなかったっけ？激辛キムチとか売ってなかったかな？
You hate spicy food for those who don't remember that. As evidenced by this.
甘いのが食べたいです。甘いの？どんなのがいい？
じゃあショートケーキとかみんなで。エンジェルモートのは特にうまいんだよな。
ならエンジェルモートのシュークリームにしましょうです。安くてもいいからお腹いっぱい食べたいのですよ。
食べる元気が出てきたのはいいことです。何でもよく食べて元の元気を取り戻していきましょう。では皆さん、面会時間はこれで終わりです。
Everyone began to leave.
これ
Hanyu
で
too.
貸し借りはなしね。
僕は何も貸してませんのですよ。
そうね。あれは夢だもんね。
おやすみです。リカ、良い夢を。
Night, Rika Furude. Please treat the future you won with care. Thank you. Alright, after I get out, the first thing I'll do is go visit my parents' grave. I realized something just now. Why I had to kill my mother to return this world. The fragment coming out when I kill her or whatever wasn't the problem. Choosing a world in which my mother wasn't here was already killing her. Till now I'd chosen this world without feeling any sorrow for it, killing my mother every time. That was what you wanted me to realize, wasn't it? The sins you feel in me. It's probably one of them. Stopped respecting my parents. I finally realized that in the other world. Rika, thank you for realizing. Although the most important sin I felt from you has been cleansed. It'll be okay, Rika. Your hands are not stained with your mother's blood. That was all something I showed you because I wanted to be mean to you for a little. All just a dream. You forget all of it when you awaken from your slumber. Good night, Rika. Sleep deep, as I dream of how you will color your life in the future. And that was Higurashi Raid, the only one that we'll be doing. As I said, there's 2 other chapters. They're both fan service. We're not doing it. That was really the only meaningful episode. Higurashi.